Hello from Sussex and the historic splendour of Hurstmonceux Castle.
Remarkably, though dating back to the 15th century, the castle has never witnessed a battle. Until today, that is.
Yes, we've got 8 eager artists all lined up to get medieval on their art. It's the Battle of the Brushes. It's Landscape Artist of the Year.
Throughout the summer, we're visiting some of the most stunning and inspiring scenery that bountiful Britain has to offer.
So you felt quite happy when you learnt you were coming to a castle?
This is like perfect.
48 talented artists will commit to canvas these magnificent views in their quest to create their own landscape masterpieces.
I'm pretending I'm a child with poster paints.
OK, splash it on.
Competing at today's heat are 7 professional artists. Izzy Wingham, Gary Jeffrey, Satdeep Grul, Colin Watson, Fatma Umanel, Ian Lever, and Sarah Manolescu.
I think I've been quite anxious in the build-up. I'm quite easily rattled, but I'm here to paint, so I just want to get on and paint.
And 1 amateur artist, Russell Ashcroft.
Never worked outdoor before. I am feeling very nervous. It's all very surreal. I didn't sleep a wink last night.
The artists are competing for the prize of a £10,000 commission to paint a scene in Venice in celebration of Victorian art critic John Ruskin.
To be in with a chance of taking the top prize, the artist must impress our 3 accomplished judges: Taiesha Schierenberg, Kathleen Soriano, and Kate Bryan.
This is Biro sprayed with deodorant.
Biro and deodorant?
Yeah.
Also hoping to gain favour with the judges, at every heat are an extra 50 artists, our wildcards.
The colours you're going to use are going to be bonkers.
I may get bonkers.
Okay,
I have to sort of...
Then it'll be like bonkers. Are you a competitive person?
I like to win.
So that's a yes.
Pressure's on.
While the 8 artists prepare for their challenge, the judges review their qualifying online submissions.
8 artists, 8 submissions. Let's say hello to a painting of an aloe.
We're starting early today.
Yeah, don't worry about that. I'm all over it.
The colours of that hot climate are very sort of silvery, and there's a certain sort of atmosphere to them.
This is almost like a complete absence of liquid in the way that they've put the paint down. It's dry, it's chalky, and of course that just underscores the kind of terrain that you're looking at and really suits this fantastic plant.
There's a lot of stamping, printing, and it feels like a sort of gritty urban scene. They've somehow elevated with pattern and with colour.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this. It's a very strange way of putting textures and paints down. But at the same time, I think they've struck a nice balance between being realistic and being a bit experimental with their process.
As soon as I look at this, I'm taken right through art history and lots of paintings where, out of the background of some scene, Icarus falling or Bruegel's walkers through the forest, you have this town in the background, and it makes it so powerful.
And such attention to detail. You just know that they haven't missed a single roof tile.
I love this because it's so surreal, and I think the crab is a complete tour de force, and these fantastic patterns that they've created, and it's still really believable as crab shell.
Come on, it's bonkers.
It's brilliantly bonkers, though.
The sort of 50s horror movies,
Yeah.
and I'm quite intrigued of what they're going to bring today. It's a really interesting clash.
So, from killer crabs to a slice of London suburbia.
Very beautifully caught, the way the street runs through the picture. They've found an interesting sort of composition which keeps the whole thing alive, really.
But also full of story. You know, I love it when you can see things like net curtains and then you start to think about the people who live there. That sort of presence of humanity. It's a powerful little piece.
It's very unconventional language that they've used. And it's done very cleverly with that sort of the softness of the water, and then the graphic element on top gives us the sense of the surface of the water. So they've created a language in which they create space and volume, which is very effective.
It's almost like a little vignette of an old movie. Maybe it's because of the sepia tone that's being used.
And the only real colour is the green of the new shoots. This plant winds its way across the canvas in a way that sort of guides your eye as well. A very clever composition. I really like the brevity of the paint. That sense of heat is made real by the shadows, and if you look at the steps, that's where I feel the heat, is walking down those steps.
It's so impressionist. I can hear the kids screaming in the surf. We're really there, and so to do that with such a shorthand is pretty impressive.
Well, what a mixture of styles. See what they produce. Keep an eye out for killer crabs. Artists, I hope you're feeling inspired because the time has come to put your creative skills to the test.
You have 4 hours to complete your landscape, and your time starts now. Today, we've placed our artists on the banks of the medieval moat, surrounding majestic Hurstmonceux Castle in East Sussex.
Britain is populated by these incredible castles that sort of march across the countryside. And here we have a fantastic version, which is really going to challenge, I think, our artists today with the level of detail that's presented in it. They need to embrace the castle, and that doesn't mean necessarily that they have to show all of it, but they have to give us a really strong sense of it and its detail, and also this luscious landscape that we're sitting in.
There's one word I feel about this view, looming. Yeah, I want to try and break the monotony of this edifice and make it come to life.
There's a lot to take in, but I'm going to try and capture as much as I can of the castle, the trees and the moat, and I might add some little sneaky things in here as well.
The usual detailed approach that I do is a really, really time-consuming one, and there's so much detail in all the stonework. I just really want to focus in on the parts that are quite impressive.
When she's not working as a teaching assistant, Norfolk-based professional artist Izzy Wingham is a passionate history buff who loves to capture historic sites in graphite. Her meticulous illustration of the town of King's Lynn took over 100 hours to complete.
Izzy, we loved your submission, that fantastic detail. I suppose I don't need to ask if you like brick, because I already know that you do.
Yeah, really old weathered brick. I love drawing it.
So your sketch is next door.
Yeah, that was just an idea of composition, and then this is the angle that I've chosen.
And you always work in graphite?
I do use soft pastel, not charcoal, because it's too smudgy. The graphite is easier to control. I would start with the hard pencils first, the light ones, and then gradually build up.
You're not actually delineating all the tiny bricks?
No, I'm going to select areas of where I'll put more detail.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing these little bricks emerge. I love the bricks on your submission. They were so charming. Let's hope it doesn't start raining.
Yeah.
I'm worried about your little piece of paper there.
My philosophy for today is to take my time, because normally I paint over a 2.5 to 3 hour window, so I've got time, but I don't want to overpaint it. So it's keeping myself in check to make sure I don't do that.
Professional artist and mum of 2, Sarah Malolescu describes herself as an impressionist with a love for figures, colour and light, as demonstrated in her Wimbledon street scene. A seasoned plein-air painter, Sarah's familiar with tight deadlines, managing family life around her artistic working day.
Sarah, you really dashed down with enormous brio a huge amount of this picture.
Yeah, it's so important to get everything in the right place before I start putting on the colour.
And you have actually noticed over here a staircase.
Yeah, I really like that line coming down and the bit of sky poking through that archway.
You're used to working in the open air.
I am. I have to be in front of my subject. You're absorbing everything. Everything you hear, you smell, you see, you experience, it all goes onto the board, and it just makes for a much more energetic, lively, emotional piece, I think. Yeah?
Great.
Thank you.
Go for it.
Also invading the grounds of Hurstmonceux, 50 wildcard artists are taking up residence in the castle's orchard.
Most of my studio with me, really. All my big brushes.
I was on a 12-week course for this.
There you go. Look at that, isn't it marvellous? I was such an amateur. My husband dropped me off and all the children stayed in the car with him and enjoying the calm.
I'm nervous. I also get my dissertation results today, so I'm nervous about a lot of things. If you see me crying in the corner, then you know why.
I can't really see much of that to make it look good, so I'm going to do something a bit different to everyone else, with the little trees.
And if any of their landscapes impress the judges, they could win a place in the semi-final.
The kind of Van Gogh-y kind of feel to your drawing. Is that any
That's interesting you say
artistic influences?
Well, if it is, it's gone wrong, because I'm trying to channel Kandinsky.
Kandinsky?
An hour into the competition, the overcast grey day and dominant red brick of the castle are definitely not dictating one artist's palette.
Today, I'm going to be radical and put down the complete opposite colours to what I can see in front of me as an underpainting in an attempt to make it come to life. So the first thing is a bright green castle, but don't panic.
Surrey-based professional artist Gary Jeffrey took part in 2016's Landscape Artist of the Year, competing at Stowe in Buckinghamshire. His submission this year, capturing the colour of a beach scene, was painted plein air on holiday in Mallorca.
Gary, you made a very bold start there already. It's kind of very bright colours.
Yeah, I'm pretending I'm a child with poster paints.
OK.
This is the most fun part.
Splash it on.
Yeah.
Big, bold and beautiful.
Absolutely, yeah.
Are you a bit of a high-wire act as a painter? You're quite courageous.
I love being up against it.
Oh, that's good. Well, you picked the right place then. So 4 hours is not going to be a problem for you?
I wouldn't say it wouldn't be a problem, but you have to prioritise
OK.
to actually make something that's resolved.
Have you got anyone here supporting you?
My dad.
Oh, yeah, where is he?
He's over in the Wildcards section.
Is he a wildcard?
Yes.
Do you paint together a lot?
I don't like going out and painting with him because he gets bored.
Oh, he gets bored?
Yes, and wanders off and goes, why have you only done one? I've done 3.
Oh, so he's the kid and you're the dad, basically?
Yeah, he's got an attention span problem.
Oh, well, listen, do him proud and good luck with it.
I will, thank you.
I use a lot of like yellows and browns just to kind of sketch in where everything will be. And then I underpaint the colours in with a light wash and build on it throughout the day.
Aged 25, Fatma Umanel is our youngest competitor today. A professional London-based artist, her submission depicts an amalgam of photographs taken on a trip to her parents' homeland of northern Cyprus. Presented with today's behemoth of a building, Fatma's chosen to close crop in on her canvas.
Fatma, you've really brought the castle sort of almost smothering us as the viewer, but you've been super clever and you've sort of avoided the water, haven't you?
I actually wanted to include the water, but I haven't actually got any space to. Because of the kind of position I am, quite close to the castle, I've opted to zoom in, and that's quite difficult because there's a lot of detail. The brickwork, the windows, so that's been quite tricky.
But I love it. I think there's a real sense of oppression. It's really dominating the scene. Are you happy with it?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
As the first hour of the challenge draws to a close, will our artists conquer the castle?
Because it's so big, I don't want to give myself too much to draw. We'll have to keep a very close eye on the time.
You're quite methodical, are you, as a person, I see? Yeah.
Yeah, my pencils are all in order.
All in order.
There's loads of things worrying me about today, not least of which is the weather. I'm a bit worried that the sun might come out and completely ruin all of my Gothic gloom.
I
never know how a painting's going to go. It's always an experiment. So I really hope I produce something that I'm happy with, because if I'm not, then that'll really suck.
Our 8 competing artists are entering the second hour of the 4-hour challenge to depict the enchanting yet formidable Hurstmonceux Castle in Sussex.
Normally I would paint straightforward landscapes. Sometimes I do a little bit of architecture, but often the architecture supports the rest of the landscape rather than being such a kind of key feature of it like it is here today.
A self-taught professional abstract artist, Satdeep Grul's unique vision of a local beauty spot on the River Test in Hampshire demonstrates her approach to the natural landscape.
Your submission involved water. You used a very schematic way of representing it. It isn't naturalistic, I wouldn't say.
But normally I do start with a realistic approach and I try to capture kind of what's in front of me, and then the more abstract graphic elements come later when I've thought through the best way to do it.
Where do you derive your style from?
For a while I was obsessed with the golden ratio, which is this pattern repeated throughout nature. I think that's what I'm trying to do with the patterns.
The relationship with nature, it's elusive, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It's a castle, isn't it? Just a chocolate box castle. So what you're looking for, I imagine, is something very twee and romantic.
Absolutely the opposite, of course. And it's very odd because we're standing in front of this magnificent edifice and we've got this moat and everything is great and ready for a painting. The light is so bad and grey that there's no contrast. They've got to find some colour in this because that's the only way they're going to make something as interesting. If you stare long enough at this brick, they're reds, they're purples, there's interesting things to be extrapolated from it.
Apparently there is a ghost that haunts this castle. It's a headless drummer.
Weird.
Yeah. Apparently the headless drummer is armless, though. Yeah.
Would you like to live in this castle?
No, because...
There's a headless drummer running around.
There's a headless drummer.
My style is a B-movie type of painting. So seeing famous landmarks and then adding some sort of creepy feature into it. I know they've got a headless drummer, apparently haunts the grounds, so I might sneak something like that into the picture.
Professional artist Ian Lever's submission pays homage to 2 of his favourite things, Brighton and vintage B-movie posters. His work incorporates his love of pop art and sci-fi, inspiring him to paint landscapes with a twist.
So what are we going to get today? Godzilla, crabs? What's happening to the castle?
I've been sneaking in a drum because of the headless drummer.
Nice, OK. It's very flat at the moment, but of course it's that B-movie vintage poster look that you're going for again.
But I'm trying to add different textures and bring it out a bit more because it is just really base coats at the moment.
Yeah.
I really hope I can make it pop out.
Well, I think it's going to be great. I really hope we see the headless drummer as well as the drum.
OK, I'll try and fit them in.
Enjoying the pastoral pleasures of the castle, our 50 wildcards are vying for the chance of just one place in the semi-final.
So we've got 2 canvases here.
Yeah.
What's the plan? I mean, why is this one on the floor here?
I had to lay it down to pour on some liquid acrylics. And then I use methylated spirits.
OK.
Along with the spray paint.
Wow, fantastic energy. Really good.
Cheers.
Are you staying with this cool palette? It actually looks like snow. Are you feeling that
Very
cold?
It is a bit chilly, yeah. My hands are getting a bit...
Do you know a painter called Gary?
I do, my son, yes.
Are you competitive with each other?
No.
How will he cope if he doesn't do as well as he hoped?
He'll cry all the way home.
Will he?
Yeah, and I'll have to probably stop.
What?
And take him in my arms and stop him sobbing.
OK.
Yeah.
God, we should get a camera on that. That sounds like great telly.
On the other side of the historic site, Our only amateur artist competing in a pod is trying not to be overwhelmed by the enormity of the castle.
I've got this grid basically just to set the composition, find a focal point. It keeps my focus on like, a certain part of the building rather than trying to incorporate it all. Just focus on an area.
Russell Ashcroft paints around his working day as a postman in Skipton, where he was born and raised. His submission, a composite scene of the Peak District, is his first ever landscape. Painting outside and to a deadline are also new practices.
Russell, we're quite a way into the day.
Yes.
And you've done a grid.
Yes.
What's happened?
I've decided to start again because I wasn't happy with the composition. This is my original piece, and detail of the castle just overwhelmed me. So I've decided to simplify it and bring more of the foreground in.
Okay.
And just have a little element of the bridge.
Okay.
Just for time-wise, really.
Right. Did you factor in that might happen, or is this a panic situation?
A bit of both.
So taking a deep breath, you're going to start again?
Yes.
Are you good under pressure?
The best.
So we're going to find out.
I've just blocked in the main sort of fundamental shapes. At this stage, it's quite open, and so I'm moving things around, pushing things around until the whole thing locks, and then I'll start refining. But at this stage, I'm just really trying to get the colours, the tones, and the shapes right.
Colin Watson is based in Belfast, but a frequent visitor to his wife's homeland of Morocco, which inspires his artistic professional career. His submission of an aloe vera plant is painted in his homemade blend of treated oils.
Colin, what we liked about your painting particularly was the sense of texture. There's a kind of roughness or a dryness.
Yeah.
Is it a medium you use?
Well, I'm using a wax medium, so it gives it a bit of body.
Yeah.
And it sort of clogs the picture a bit.
The water, which is this dull brown, you've layered it by using this wax, so there's colour coming through.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you've got this sort of dull brownish underneath, and then it's more violet, sort of pale grey on top. I think that helps to give it a bit of life.
And that sort of visual mixing, in a sense, that's what you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Instead of
yeah,
mixing the colour, you're mixing it on the canvas.
Exactly, yeah. Same with the castle itself. It's not made of one flat colour, so there's a lot of colours there. So I think it helps you to breathe a bit by layering.
Yeah, it does, and it creates atmosphere as well. I mean, you've seen colours in there which I haven't even imagined. So
well, maybe they're not there.
It works.
Well, you have to keep the thing alive, hopefully.
Well done.
Thank you.
As the second hour of the competition winds down, the wind picks up, along with the artist's kit.
I've actually found the weather quite difficult because when I'm trying to paint really fine lines, my hand keeps getting knocked from the wind.
It survived?
Just about, yeah. Should be all right.
Okay.
Bit of scraping.
You sure it wasn't the wind? It wasn't you getting moody and flinging
bit
it?
of that maybe involved.
Feeling good. The early explosion of energy has paid off, and I can be a bit more considered.
Normally, when I'm painting, I'm under time pressure because I have to go and pick up my kids from school. My concern today is that I might be tempted to fiddle.
Our 8 competitors are halfway through their challenge at Hurstmonceux Castle in Sussex. With just over 2 hours left, the sheer scale of the building continues to test the artists.
You've gone quite close in.
Yes, this is bigger than I normally work on.
And it's more complex in a
Yes.
sense?
Yes, because there's so much going on with that building, and I do get sucked in by the details. I mean, the brickwork is hard because there's so much going on within it. You know, certain parts look almost sort of pebble-dashed in a way.
Yeah, I'm quite intrigued how this...
Me too.
No, sorry, I sound... I'm quite intrigued.
How's it
I'm
gonna
in the
go?
most positive. I'm intrigued and quite excited to see how you develop this.
Russell, you're a brave man. You changed tack.
Yeah, I decided just to concentrate on textures
Yeah.
and larger flat areas.
What are the priorities that you've got to crack on with?
Just to get some more depth in here and then detailing in the bridge. Other than that, I'm quite happy with sort of the basicness of it.
You're really happy with the moment at which you killed the castle?
Yeah.
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 Well done.
Gary, come on up. I found someone you might remember.
Oh, no.
How are you feeling about Gary's painting so
Needs
far?
a little bit more work, I think.
Right. What would you suggest?
Well, you don't want to start again, do you, really? No, I think you need to start putting some lines in, some linear work onto it.
All right, Father.
Yeah. No, you'll be all right, mate.
Parental advice is one thing, but today the only opinions that really count are those of our judges.
So it's halfway. Then what's the overall impression have you got?
The view that we're asking our artists to paint is almost too close to them. So some of them are not picking up on some of the subtleties.
The ones who stick out for me are the ones who've overcome the problem of lack of light and lack of tonal contrast and found colour.
OK, Satdeep, has she pushed it too far?
I think Satdeep's style of painting is very particular. You know, she is giving us her own voice.
I think the thing we're missing with Satdeep is that bold outlining that she did on her submission, which made it more like graphic art, and we haven't got that yet.
There is something there that sort of interests me. I think it's the pools of colour, and I'm hoping that it'll all resolve itself as we get towards the end of the day.
Colin, very keen on colour.
Colin's skill is, of course, the way he applies paint and finds colour, and the way he's used wax and how the paint is very dryly sort of overlaid. I think it's very atmospheric and very beautiful painter. I think it's gorgeous.
I also think that Colin's given us a little bit of context. There's a rather lovely tree that's appeared on the left-hand side of the castle. There's almost dappled light coming through it, and I'm hoping that that will push the castle back a little bit, maybe.
Let's consider Gary.
I liked his very counterintuitive way of painting the castle, of taking every colour that he could see, and what we've got is this kind of fauvist, wild beasts, warm, saturated castle.
He's working quite small, and it's very sort of almost symmetrical version of the castle, but the colour he's bringing off.
Russell, bold to start a second picture halfway through the competition, isn't it?
I think Russell made such a good decision to stop when he did, because he realised he had too much castle.
And there's something rather beautiful happening. He's running a bit behind, but what's there, I think, is really interesting.
Sarah, happy as a lark in the open air.
Sarah's given us a confident approach, a confident composition, and I'm looking forward to seeing her give us a bit more mood, a bit more texture.
At the moment, it works, but this grey-brown that she's used for the bricks is rather underwhelming.
I really like it, but actually I'm worried that Sarah will have too much time. It's got a real impressionistic, fleeting aspect to it, and actually she could overwork that.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they do this afternoon.
I'm so excited. I've come at just the right moment. I've been waiting for you to do something with these blocks of colour that you've laid down. You've now started to define them with the outlines. It's fantastic. How do you normally know when it's the right time to start laying on these graphic shapes on top?
It's usually when I've had about a week to decide that I'm happy with the underpainting, which I don't have today, so that was the kind of most difficult bit.
I can see how you've got these sorts of circular flumps, or whatever you want to call it. If you look at the tree there, it's a perfect sort of circular flump.
Yeah, there's a direct relationship between what I'm painting and what I'm seeing, but there's also obviously something else going on in my head.
Well, I look forward to seeing how it all pulls together at the end.
Thank you.
The stately Hurstmonceux Castle our artists are painting today was the creation of Sir Roger Fines, aspiring Sussex landowner and Member of Parliament during the reign of King Henry V. Roger had inherited what was then a modest manor house from his father in 1402. It was the time of the 100 Years' War, with the ruling families of France and England engaged in a bitter struggle over French territories. With fame and fortune to be made on the continent, Roger had big plans for his family and for Hurstmonceux.
Roger himself was very ambitious. He fought for Henry V in France, as did his brother. They seem to have been very popular with Henry V, and they were rewarded with lands and important posts.
When Roger returned from France, he was determined to build himself a home in keeping with his new status as war hero and royal favourite.
Roger was given permission to enclose, crenellate, embattle and entower his manor of Hurst, but you could say that what he builds is like the missing link between the really defensive castles of an earlier period and the later Tudor grand stately home.
Inspired by a chateau he'd seen during his time fighting in France, Roger's castle was a huge edifice of red brick, a building material almost unheard of in Britain at the time, and it looked every inch the medieval fortress. And yet on close inspection it would hardly have withstood a marauding army. The windows were too large, the gun ports too small, and the walls would have been no match for a barrage of cannonballs. By the time he died in 1449, Sir Roger had reached the office of Treasurer to the royal household of a new king, Henry VI, with the splendour of Hurstmonceux Castle standing as testimony to his wealth and status.
Enjoying the glory of the castle grounds as they stand today, our 50 wildcards are nearing the end of their challenge, with the judges selecting only one to go forward and be in with a chance of making it to the semi-final.
But for someone, there's already good news.
I got my dissertation results back today. It's not an official mark, but hopefully I'll get a first.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
wonderful.
I think you win the prize for the smallest work, but I love it. It's so precious. Is this the first one you've done?
Oh, well, I did start over there, but there was too much green. So I thought I'd get everyone in so I could put a bit more colour.
You could have put a bit more colour in if you'd used a bigger piece of paper.
Yeah, I do.
Do you paint a lot?
No. I give myself half a day once a week because I've got a job.
Oh, right. What's your job?
I'm a GP.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I've got a little thing on my eye.
Well, it's fine.
I wondered if you could have a look
Just take
at.
your top off.
So which of our wildcards has flourished today?
What about the guy who's slightly up the hill?
You just did the foliage and the different sort of textures.
So
yeah,
much richness in the
really.
colour.
No.
But you know, they're mainly looking at
Yes.
the trees, aren't they?
No, that's fine.
There's a girl sitting down, and the trees are painted very softly and rather sort of
Smoky.
smoky and
Yeah.
ghostly.
Yeah,
it's
it's
very atmospheric.
I like that one.
you
I like
like
that
that
one a
one?
lot.
I do like that one.
Okay.
Congratulations. You are our wildcard winner today. Well done.
This has been a really big day, and it's really nice to have just a compliment from an outside perspective because your mum's always going to say it's nice, so it was really flattering.
On top of receiving a first in her art dissertation, Hannah Buchanan from Kent now joins the selection of wildcard winners from all the heats, at the end of which one will be chosen for a place in the semi-final.
But for our selected artists, the pressure continues to mount as the competition enters its final hour.
If you're happy with the light, you're happy with the subject.
Just not happy with the painting.
Why not?
Well, it probably needs another week's work.
Are you feeling the time pressure?
I am, absolutely, yeah.
You're panicking slightly.
I am.
Although I'm using smaller brushes, I'm holding them right at the ends like this to stop me from being tight. And I'm daring myself to be loose and blobby right to the end.
Time-wise, I'm doing better because of the foreground. It's more area of texture rather than detail of the castle. I'm happier because I feel like I'm accomplishing more.
I might have a little bit more to do to the water. I just need to fatten it up now, but I really need to push forward and just attack it.
Here at Hurstmonceux Castle in Sussex, our 8 competitors have only minutes left to resolve their landscape works of art.
At this stage, fatigue sets in, so pressure's on.
The quandary I have is how dark to make the shadows. And I have to make sure I don't veer off on the wrong path.
I think I'm okay. I'm just building up the detail now. But my eyes have given up. I don't think they can tell what colour's what anymore.
Artists, you have 1 minute left.
I would like another hour or two.
Artists, your time is up.
Put down your equipment and stand away from your easels.
Well done. Well done.
With the artists retired, it's time for the judges to review their completed landscapes.
I think Gary did rather well today. There's a subtlety in the drawing which makes you aware of where you are looking at the castle from, how that bridge leads over. There's a ebullient colour use.
But it's not as vibrant as it was. He's toned it down, and he's toned it down with accurate tones. And I think the result's excellent. This feels a little bit simplified. I love the tones, though. The colours are really representative of this slightly pink castle, and she just caught that.
The overpowering size of the building and the claustrophobia you get in front of it, it feels like standing in front of the building, absolutely.
I really like the way in which Ian has taken that lovely view of down into the channel of the moat.
I suppose I'm a bit disappointed that it isn't as surreal as his submission.
You're just sad you didn't get Godzilla.
I wanted Godzilla. I mean, I would have taken the crabs.
I really like Izzy's drawing. She's really caught a sense of the ancientness, even though it's small and even though it's only done with, you know, a million different graphite pencils. I think it's got a punch.
In that sort of long slice, it brings the sky sort of over us, doesn't it? So you're really immersed in the landscape. I love the way Colin puts paint on and that atmospheric way. And I look at it now and I think he's just gone a bit too far. The paint surface has lost its luster for me.
But there's a complexity to this work, actually, that shows a sophisticated and experienced painter. I thought Satdeep was really good at observing nature and the natural forms and then reducing them into some sort of abstracted language. I think the graphics thing pulls it all together.
I was really pleased when these thick lines went on because they kind of made sense of what her vision was, although I'm not mad on the lines that she used in the water.
I love the reflection that Russell's been able to suggest in that water and also the texture of the grass. I'm more concerned with the stippled nature of the tree. It doesn't sort of sit so comfortably with this lovely rough texture that we have here.
Almost looks like a Japanese woodcut. And to end on that sort of accent of green, I think is very sophisticated. I like Sarah's understanding of colour in the sense, in a subdued way, that she's got these browns working against the silvery greys. I do find the composition a bit oppressive.
I'm really pleased because she didn't overpaint it. I think this painting has got the best water today. You know, it's really beautifully observed.
But no, some good stuff today. The way we set it up in front of the castle, I thought some sort of kind of succumbed to that kind of overpoweredness, and others sort of grappled with it very well.
To help with their decision-making, the judges pare down the artists to a shortlist of 3.
The light was bad. I'm interested in the artists who found a way around that to make interesting paintings. You know, they did something with the colour or did something the way they put paint on.
My favourite 3 are ones that, you know, you have a bit of the castle, but you also have a lot more in nature.
Yeah, I agree with you.
We want a lovely composition and some interesting, painting.
Artists, it's been an amazing day, and it's been wonderful seeing you create this fantastic work.
But the judges can only pick 3 of you to shortlist, and they have made their selection. The first artist on the shortlist is Gary Jeffrey.
The second artist is Colin Watson.
The third artist is Sarah Manolescu.
Our commiserations to the rest of you, but thank you for joining us and for doing really impressive work as well. Thank you.
I'm really happy for the final three. They really captured the sort of mood of the castle and the colours. That was something that I struggled with personally, so yeah, well done to them.
The judges must whittle their shortlist down further to pick their winner. To help them, they take into consideration the selected artists' qualifying submissions.
This castle is a kind of cliché castle, isn't it? Difficult to avoid a cliché painting.
Somehow they brought their own style to bear, and it seemed to avoid that totally.
I think all three of our finalists today have embraced the dominance of the castle and nature itself.
Gary showed an interest in his submission in colour, and he showed an interest today. We've got a very colourful castle.
Yeah,
from
and
him.
I think there's a lovely perverse logic to how he painted today, where he said he was going to give us all the opposite colours that were there. And then he sort of took that experimentation and turned it closer to reality.
It's easy to use colour when you're using it as an impressionistic device, but to make something solid and believable using colour as well, it's a step further, and that he can do both is pretty impressive.
Colin can convey a sense of mystery, I feel, in his paintings.
Colin's got a dry way of applying paint, and I think the way the light bounces off the surface of the paint gives us a sense of the air between us and the object, and that is the atmosphere you're talking about. And he's been able to create in both his submission and what he did today, and he's very believable.
And I think the balance in it is really effective, the way in which the tree almost has an equal weight to the castle.
So Sarah really took on the castle, didn't she?
She really took on the water.
Particularly under the bridge. It's so convincing.
Sarah loves her paint to be sort of oily and gelatinous, and that's complemented the reflective surface.
I think Sarah's very good at lots of small, intricate elements, and there's a lot of windows and crenellations, and she was totally unfazed. I think she's a very good painter.
So, who will be king or queen of the castle?
Gary, Colin, Sarah, this is the dreaded moment when we have to lose two of you because only one of you can go forward to the semi-final, and the judges have decided.
The artist they have chosen to put through to the semi-final is... Gary Jeffrey.
Getting to the semi-final has given me a great sense of validation about my work. It means the world.
Gary's a great artist, he's a great colourist, he puts paint on beautifully, but above all, he won because he took risks. We had this very brushy, vibrant way of putting on paint, but we got a sense of the day. And to bridge that painterly language with a sense of realism, where he didn't know whether he could pull it off, and he did pull it off, I think that's just magical.
I'm delighted for you.
Thanks, Dad.
And I think you've done really well. And I hope you can go on further.
Wow, that's
And if you don't, you'll have something to